Well, good afternoon. If it's Monday, 3 o'clock Eastern, it's Mondays with Michael live here on Facebook. I want to thank you all for joining me today in the room, or if you're watching this post session, thanks for watching. Hoping everyone had a great weekend. Today's session, we're going to take a little bit of a different turn. As we were putting together our program for this spring and the summer, we had thought about adding segments around selling. And though we've done most of our sessions on either management, leadership, supervisory skills, some on harassment, some on selection and team building, we really haven't touched the area of sales. So we're going to do that over the next 4 weeks. So the next 4 weeks, we're going to do 4 sessions all around selling skills, specifically using the Everything DiSC profile and teaching salespeople how to sell better. I'm going to go through my notes as I normally do. I'm going to hold up some handouts along the way, so you know what I'm talking about. But we're going to spend time over the next 4 weeks talking about selling and using the Everything DiSC map. So we're going to talk about D's, I's, S's, and C's again, like we've done in the past, but in the context of salespeople and customers. We talk about selling style. We're going to talk about buying style. So when we talk about selling or sales training to our clients, for me, there are 3 parts of the sales training process. There is product. Your salespeople need to know everything about the widgets they're selling, the products they're selling. I can't tell you how many times I go to shows and trade shows, and the people that are selling, either on the phone or face-to-face, don't know everything about what they're selling. They need to call IT or someone else in the product development department, and that's not a good thing. So first part of the sales training process is product training, making sure your salespeople know everything about every widget they sell. Second is process. So how do they qualify their leads, how they track their leads, and whether you're using Salesforce.com or some other tracking system, you need to have some type of technology that tracks what they're working on. What leads are they working on? How well are they closing their leads? So there's all that process stuff. And then the third part is people, because at the end of the sales process, you end up selling to a person or persons if you're selling to a group. Unless you're going in through the whole government contract door and you're using the RFP process to promote your company, usually salespeople, if they're on the street selling, are selling to people, either small groups or one-on-one. A lot of times it's one-on-one. So we're going to talk about people today. So we're going to talk about adapting, changing, understanding your approach to selling, and how do you adapt your approach to selling. So as always, I'm going to go to my notes and my handouts. So we're going to be using the Everything DiSC sales profile the next 4 weeks. The Everything DiSC sales program is a half-day or a full-day program we teach with salespeople, teaching them more about themselves like we normally do with DiSC, but from a sales perspective. And then we also teach them how to identify buying styles of potential customers or their current customers, and how do they make those adapting behavior changes to meet the needs of their customers, So today we're going to talk about the D Salesperson. And the D Salesperson's priorities, you can tell by looking at the map, the D Salesperson priorities are results, action, and competency. So let's talk about that a little bit. So D salespeople want results. They want to make the sale. They want to get things done. They want to do it right now. Action tells us that they want to get to the sale quickly. They want to close quickly. They have this concept of a one-call close. A lot of the D salespeople work with want to go in once and close the deal. I'm going to ask you later how often you think that happens. And then competency. Ds want to show that they're competent about the product or service they're selling. This goes back to that whole training on the product part of it. It really is important that the Ds understand everything they're selling, because they want to portray that or show that competency in the sales process. Now, does this work all the time? Probably not. I tell salespeople all the time, whatever style you are, you can only sell the same way someone's going to buy 25% of the time. Now, if I'm a D salesperson and I'm selling to someone who is really high D dominant style in the DiSC profile, we may get along like 2 peas in a pod. And you'll be able to sell that D customer fairly quickly, because on the buying side, we're going to talk here in a minute, Ds like to make quick decisions and they want to get down to the bottom line. So you may have a real connection here in making that sale. But when you expand that circle to I's, S's, and C's, that D approach probably not going to work. So we strongly encourage salespeople to come up with approaches, presentations, talking points, features and benefits, all around the 4 behavioral styles. We're going to talk a little about that today. So we're going to get right into the D selling. So when Ds sell to other Ds, they're fact and action oriented. So if you get there, and you can get there as a D, you're going to be right in line. Willingness to take risks. A lot of Ds on the buying side want to take risks. They want to try something new. They may have a tough-minded approach. They may ask you some serious, tough questions, but at the end, they like to make a quick and decisive decision. So if you're D and you like to sell quickly, if you're selling to a D, this is going to be kind of a nice thing for you. So that's what Ds want. Again, in the program, we talk about in more depth what the D buyer really wants, really interested in the information and what they really need before they say yes. So now we're going to turn a little bit. So, okay, I'm a D salesperson. Now I'm going to go talk to my client, and I've used some tools that we provided to you to assess if this client is high I, outgoing, gregarious, talkative. So I's are upbeat and enthusiastic. They like a positive outlook on the buying side. They also like fast, action-paced buying approach, but they also tune into feelings. A lot of times when you're selling to I, they gotta like you. And if they don't like you, they may not buy from you because it's all about, that connectivity. They need some time to talk and they need to express themselves. So again, my D salespeople who like that one-call close, this may not be a one-call close. This may be a 2 or 3-step close, and this is going to be a time where the customer needs to do most of the talking because they like to talk it out. When I have my I customers on the phone, they really like to talk it out, and they want to talk about, not only what's going on at work, obviously they want to talk about other things, but you're going to have to give some time to talk it out. So if I'm a D salesperson selling to someone who's I, I'm going to need to be a little more patient. I'm going to let them take control a little bit, and I'm going to let them express their enthusiasm about the potential purchase. So let's move on to S. So remember, our S buyers are calm, cool, collected, don't like ripples in the wave. So if you're coming in as a D, hard charging to give somebody the opportunity to make a big change based on what you're selling them, it's going to take some time because S's, as a general rule, don't like change. But remember, they like moderate, methodical pace. They tend to be agreeable and warm. They're cautious and hesitant about making a buying decision. And most S's you interact with are going to want to ask others on the team how they feel about the potential purchase. So the opportunity of a one-call close with an S gets even lower than the I because the S's need time to process. They need time to talk to other team members and or their boss to make sure that the team feels good about the purchase. Something you need to keep in mind. You need to adjust your presentation and adjust your timeline for someone who's high S. And last but not least, if you're a D salesperson and selling to someone who's high C, keeping in mind that high C's like logic and perfection, and they're, again, methodical like the S's. C's tend to be skeptical. You're a little skeptical too as a D, but C's tend to be really skeptical. They're very cautious of making buying decisions. They really need all the information. This is where that competency becomes important. You need to know everything about what you're selling, whether it's a product or a service. If you don't know all the details or all the information, the high C prospects that you interact with are going to just turn around and say, well, obviously you're here just to make a sale and don't have all the details. And they're going to walk away. So again, when you're working with someone who's high C, you need to adapt that presentation to ensure that you have all the data, all the document data. Now, this takes practice. Adapting to these 4 styles takes practice. In our half-day program, we have a lot of breakouts, breakout sessions, breakout parts of the training, so you can learn how to adapt your presentation. We'll talk more about that over the next few weeks. And again, we offer this training either in a half-day or a full day as part of a sales training program. So it's something you may want to think about. I will actually put a link into the message today, or wherever you're watching this, so you can see the course outline and what we do. So today we did I. Next week, today we did D. Next week, we're going to do I. So if you're an I salesperson, we're going to give you some tips about yourself and how do you approach other customers. So that takes us to our time. Thank you for watching today. Mondays with Michael live here on Facebook. We'll see you next Monday. Take care.